Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to the Dr. UUT channel. In this video, we will cover the remaining part of the cardiovascular system, that is the vascular system. Okay, so now we will talk about the blood vessels like arteries, veins, and capillaries. Before I proceed, I would love to mention this video is in English and available in Urdu. You can search it out by typing the Dr. UUT and the topic name. You will get it out anywhere you want, either Facebook or YouTube. Coming to the point, first, in this video, we will cover the definition of the arteries and veins, or the names given to them, complications relevant to these vessels like atherosclerosis, arteriosclerosis, edema, more specifically pulmonary edema and peripheral edema. Coming to the point, definition, how will we define the artery and vein plus capillaries? Whenever you are asked for the definition, try to think in a very easy way. That is, consider heart while defining the artery or vein. Keeping in mind the blood vessel that carries the blood away from the heart, that blood vessel is known as artery. The blood vessel that pumps blood or carries the blood, not pumps, that carries the blood from the heart is known as artery. And the blood vessel which brings the blood towards the heart is known as vein. And please remove the word oxygen from your mind, from your pencil, from your board, everything you have while you are defining the artery and vein. Simple definition: the blood vessels that carry the blood outside from the heart are known as artery, and which bring towards the heart are known as vein. Just remember in this diagrammatic understanding, you will never forget, inshallah. What are the other names given to the arteries and vein? I have already mentioned. Resistance vessels are known as arteries, and the capacitance vessels are known as vein. Capacitance vessels. Okay, here I have written capacity and resist. So why the arteries are called as resistance vessels? Because of its shape. You know, the arteries project from the heart. First, they are large enough, so when they are supposed to reach a specific organ, to reach the blood to that organ, they are supposed to narrow. So they will form this kind of shape. You know, when here the fluid is high enough, means like blood. So when this enough concentration reach this small area, so it will exert a pressure, a force, and this blood will feel a kind of resistance because it is enough high. So now when it is going to pass through a narrow surface, through a narrow area, so what will happen? A kind of resistance will be faced. So that's why these vessels are also given the name as resistance vessels, and they're responsible to maintain the blood pressure. That's it. And they are very elastic in nature. And coming to the next point, that is, its lumen becomes very small. And what is lumen now? The internal pipeline structure is known as lumen, through which the blood is flowing. Okay. So here it is large enough and it will become low due to this decrease in the size of in the diameter or in the lumen. So we will call this as resistance vessel because it is providing a kind of resistance to the blood flow. And why the veins are given the name as capacitance vessels? Capacitance means capacity to hold. So when the veins are formed, we know the arteries, when they are reaching to the specific organ, they will divide and it will form the small blood vessel. Those will be called as capillaries, which are one cell thick. If you talk about the red blood cells, so they will also pass through this blood, through this capillary in a single foil. Means only a single red blood cell is supposed to go. If there are 5 RBCs, so one will go, then second, then third, then fourth, then 5. 2 RBCs are not able to pass through this blood vessel because this is very thin. Got? So when they combine together again, they will just form the next vessels, and those vessels are called as vein. Here you can see that it is having a big lumen, a very big lumen is here. The reason is that when they are combining, so they will go just like this. because they are supposed to bring the blood towards the heart. So a lot of blood is supposed to be brought, and it holds then a lot of blood. So a structure for artery is like this, and for the vein, the structure of the blood vessel is the same, like just from opposite side. So now this, what will happen? Now here is enough capacity available to hold the blood. So that's why it is given the next name, that is capacitance vessels. Simple. Coming towards the complications relevant to the arteries, veins and capillaries. Often we feel confusion while defining the atherosclerosis and arteriosclerosis because they sound like same, but they are different. What is atherosclerosis? When there's a kind of plaque or an obstacle formation inside the blood vessel, that is known as atherosclerosis, ATHERO. And when there is the hardening of the artery specifically, that is known as arteriosclerosis. Arterio stands for the artery, sclerosis means hardening. So when artery becomes hard due to some diseases, then this is known as arteriosclerosis. Try to remember and concentrate these two words, athero and artero. Got? Arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis. This is the main difference, and these are the complications relevant to the blood vessels. And regarding the capillaries, we have the complications known as edemas, like pulmonary edema and peripheral edema. I told you before when I was defining or telling something about the capillary, that they are very small, very thin, means a single RBC is going to or supposed to pass through. But what happens due to some diseases, due to some high pressure, blood pressure, what happens that this capillary becomes wide. As it becomes wide, so what will happen? Whatever is present in the blood, like proteins, etc., they will then cross and will move from the outside, from the capillaries in the interstitium. So just like, remember, I told you before that about pulmonary edema. In case of pulmonary edema, what happens? The pulmonary arteries are bringing the blood towards the heart, the lungs. Pulmonary veins are taking the blood away from the lungs towards the heart. Left atrium, left ventricle. Sometimes due to left heart failure, what happens? The ventricle is not able to pump the blood to the aorta, to the systemic artery, or to provide the blood to the system. The blood stays here, or it dames here, due to which the blood is coming from the right atrium to the ventricle through the pulmonary artery to the lungs, and due to enough concentration in the left ventricle since the beginning, now it is already available here blood. So the new blood or the fresh blood is not supposed to come and join here or to pour here into the left side. What will happen? The blood will stay in the lung. The blood will dam in the lung. So you know the arteries and vein, they are joined by mean of capillaries. So those capillaries, now here the pressure on them will increase, due to which what will happen? The case, you know, the capillaries will wide and the tissue fluid will move out, including the proteins, etc. So then they will accumulate there. This tissue fluid accumulation will be known as pulmonary edema. If the same kind of accumulation happens in the peripheral areas, like in the hands and the foot, okay, then we will call that as peripheral edema. Pulmonary edema when it is in the lungs, peripheral edema when it is in the periphery, like foot